Well, even though not a whole lot changed game-wise Saturday, it still feels like a big day. And that is because Tiffany may have finally had some breakthroughs, but the question is, was it a week or more too late? Especially with Kyland winning yet another comp. Kyland won the veto. Kylan stacking that resume of comp wins. At this point in the game, I think Kylan is the comp beast. Got rid of Derek X, got rid of Christian. Xavier's been throwing challenges. And so, comp beast is Kylan. And yes, he's building his resume, but I still don't know if that's the best thing for him. I just told someone this on Twitter that in these games sometimes, and actually I would say most times, it is better to work smarter in the game and not harder in the game. You could do all these comp wins, but it might not mean shit if it's just going to make you the next target. And I feel like Kylan has pretty big odds of being one of the next targets. But with Kylan winning this veto, the odds certainly are that he keeps noms the same after going through this whole plan these last couple of days with the guys and Kylan's ego wanting to go to the end with Xavier. Tiffany says she has a last trick up her sleeve, and I think that trick is just to finally be completely honest. And the big thing that happened for me today is the breakthrough Tiffany finally had with Azah. And the irony of Tiffany finally admitting her wrongdoings with Azah is that there was just this big ass space on Twitter early in the night on Saturday with Azah stands wanting to defend Azah from the usual hate she gets from Tiffany stands on Twitter, and Azah getting all the hate while Tiffany on Twitter seems to escape that. So those Azah stands getting vindication from this conversation between Tiffany and Azah. Tiffany admitted that she has done wrongs with Azah, and whether it was her paranoia or her projecting, that she was afraid that Azah would classify her game as her personal character. And I remember that early in this game, week 2, when Azah was talking about how this game brings the darkness out of people. Tiffany thought that meant that Azah was referring to Tiffany, that Tiffany was this dark character. When in reality, Azah was just telling that to everybody in the house. It was kind of a joke, and how Azah was going to have to find her darkness in this game. But Tiffany didn't know all that at the time and didn't know this until Xavier made Tiffany and Azah try and work their issues out weeks ago. But Tiffany never truly admitted her fault in that conversation. But tonight, well, Saturday night, she finally did admit her fault, giving vindication to Azah fans, giving vindication to me, frankly, because had Tiffany not have done this projecting, and projecting was one of the words I used early on, talking about this subject of me not understanding why Tiffany felt this some kind of way with Azah for no reason. Because at the time, it never made sense on a game level, and it never even made sense on a personal level. It kind of felt like it was out of nowhere that Tiffany just wanted to drop Azah, when in reality, Azah has been wanting to be loyal to Tiffany this whole time. Yes, Azah did at one point believe something Brittany said over something Tiffany said, and that did not help the situation. That is true. But had Tiffany not just been straight up nasty about the situation with Azah, and had the Tiffany stands not have been so hard on Azah when the fan base was already being hard on Azah for no fucking reason, I would not have had to have gone so hard on Tiffany this season like I did, calling out her messiness on every turn, because her messiness at every turn seemed to get bigger and bigger that first half of the game, whether people want to admit it or not. But now Tiffany stands can't live in their delusional world anymore, when Tiffany herself admitted to doing this to Azah this whole time, doing that projecting And she said she was projecting, and she realizes projecting because she did that to Kylan, thinking that all the moves Kylan was making in this game, she thought that was his true character. The sad thing about this breakthrough is that it is probably too late, but I am glad Tiffany has come to this realization. Tiffany said this game has taught her how to be humble. I think that's true because if you go back to Tiffany weeks ago, humble is not a word you would describe her. I mean, she's a Leo, so that's why. But I am glad that Tiffany has this realization, even if this is her last few days in the game. This conversation with Azah and Tiffany, it's happened before, and from Azah's point of view, Azah has been being real with Tiffany this whole time, getting her feelings out and apologizing to Tiffany, but Tiffany never really has apologized to Azah until tonight. And I know people are saying Tiffany's just doing this to get Azah's vote, but Azah has told Tiffany she will vote Tiffany to stay over Hannah. The problem is Tiffany does not have the votes of Derek F, and Xavier. But that whole conversation with Tiffany was refreshing, to say the least. It's just too bad it's just so late in the game. I've been saying since week 2, Tiffany doing this to Azah was so bad for her game, let alone just a bad look in general. But it's better late than never, honestly. On a personal level, I am happy that Tiffany and Azah could maybe have some sort of closure on what has happened between them in this game if this is Tiffany's swan song. Now, she's supposed to have a conversation with Kylan as well. And if that conversation happened Saturday night, I did not stay up for it because, frankly, Sunday is football season and I got shit to do. But if there was a conversation from Kylan and Tiffany, I will go back and watch it and talk about it tomorrow. But I'm assuming Tiffany is going to try and be honest with Kylan as well. Kylan was having a little bit of doubts about putting up Tiffany and Hannah. So there's a possibility this changes his mind. I just don't know how big that possibility is because he would have to go against both Xavier and Derek F. Just scoring his own time. I mean, Kylan's chaos, so Kylan might do this. If Tiffany can get to Kylan's ego in the right way, make Kylan think he's the savior of Tiffany this week, growing his own target with Xavier and Derek F, Kylan would do it. He's crazy enough, honestly, but I don't know. It's a hard call. Kylan's just so chaotic that I do think there's a slight possibility Tiffany could get Kylan to use the veto on her. I really do. If that happens, Hannah's gone. Because if Kylan does that and keeps Tiffany, no matter who Kylan would put up next to Hannah, because if he puts up Azah and Hannah, Derek F and Xavier not want to keep Hannah because they know Hannah and Tiffany are close. And if he happens to put a Derek F next to Hannah, Azah's not going to vote out Derek F next to Hannah. And if he puts up Xavier next to Hannah, then it gets interesting. But Tiffany would have to sway Azah. Because, see, what Tiffany did, and Hannah too, although with Hannah, it's Azah's fault. The fact that Hannah and Azah aren't close is Azah's fault. Close that Tiffany and Azah ain't close is Tiffany's fault. So Tiffany would have to get through to Azah to keep Hannah over Xavier, but Xavier has put in all that work with Azah. Now, Azah would vote Xavier out of this game. She's talked about it once recently, the last couple days, but I think it would have to be next to the right person. Like if it was Xavier next to Tiffany or Xavier next to Derek F, Azah's going to vote out Xavier. But I just don't know if she would do it next to Hannah. But that was most of the day. Tiffany had a breakthrough. Kylan won the veto, however. Kylan just building that resume higher and higher, but also building that target higher and higher. It all comes down to if Tiffany can change Kylan's mind. Either way, I still see a cookout woman leaving this week, whether it's Tiffany or Hannah. Those are the bigger odds. Maybe some long shot Azah goes home next to Hannah, but I don't know about that. One last thing I will say before I read some comments, I want to go. There's been a lot of comments over the last few videos. I haven't got around to reading them in the videos. I like to do that sometimes. But Derek Frazier is so fucking delusional. He really thinks he's done so much in this game. It's actually over the fucking top. He really gets annoying with the delusions. Bonita Tucker said, thanks for the update. Appreciate you. I appreciate you watching, Bonita Tucker. I'm not going to read all the comments over the last few videos, just some of them. My only hope is for Kai to put X on the block. Fuck. An exclamation mark, Kevin Nelson said. I don't really foresee that happening, but maybe Tiffany can somehow talk him into it. I hate when I can't pronounce names, but Nalej Hall, you'll have to tell me if I'm wrong, because I don't know. Said, thanks for being objective and fair in your reviews. There's a lot of hate for them, and it's unfortunately reflective of the divisiveness that exists in our country to this day, ironically demonstrating why the cookout is necessary in the first place. 100% correct. It really is reflective of this country, which is like Facebook versus Twitter even is reflective of this country sometimes. They said Dan and Dr. Will threw comps in both seasons they played. Yeah, I mean, yeah, some of the players the fans call the greats. Suddenly when we talk about people this season, those same strategies are apparently strategic anymore, allegedly. People are just wrong. What is Bitcoin said? I laughed my ass off when you said discussing black men dating outside their race stigma was above your pay grade. I wanted you to delve further. I mean, that's just not my place to talk about. I don't feel like I can have a great opinion on that exactly. I mean, I do have opinions on that, like dating in general. I feel like it's 2021. You should date whatever race you want to date. Like, so these stigmas kind of get old. I mean, at some point in my life, I've dated almost every race. So my like preferences vary quite a bit. I will say though, some of the comments Xavier makes aren't great. Like if he's calling things exotic, meaning he wants to have exotic babies, meaning mixed babies. I find that's like fetishizing, maybe. I don't know. Like preference for fetishizing. It's a thin line, I think, but Xavier has been problematic with Azah sometimes. The way he acts disgusted by her sometimes, but then he had a similar situation with Whitney and Alyssa that was very different. So Xavier does do odd shit sometimes that I think is questionable. But in general, I don't think there should be a stigma about dating other races. So that's where I stand officially in general. Let me go to another video. Tanya HJ said, great point. Tiffany's social game within the cookout was really bad, and I don't understand why, since the plan was to get to Final Six together. Yeah, I mean, kind of like I said yesterday, Tiffany did all this playing outside of the cookout that she kind of gave up on relationships in the cookout. And now, as we see her apologizing to Azah, it has come back to her. Brittany Lundrigan said, Kai definitely wins against Big Dear Azah. I mean, he probably should. I think he should. Like me talking about bitter juries doesn't mean I want that to happen. Most of the time, bitter juries get on my nerves. But we can't pretend like they don't exist. And I don't think this jury is bitter in general. I just think this jury has a tendency to be bitter towards Kylan. Like I said yesterday, Alyssa in her eggs interview said something positive about everybody except Kylan. Claire's been annoyed with Kylan the whole past week before she left. When Brittany was voted out, she was annoyed with Kylan and Tiffany. So she's another one annoyed with Kylan. So I just feel like Kylan, if there's a bitter jury, it's going to be against Kylan. But Louise Dory said, you have the most appealing BB23 review. Short and to the point, I go straight to you before anyone else. Thank you, Louise. I definitely appreciate that. I do try and keep these short and to the point. I don't know. I can't listen to an update for over an hour on the gameplay because in Big Brother, most days there's truly not that much gameplay on a day-to-day basis. The dude that likes to chill said, "I'm not rooting for Kylan in any way, but the people who call him sexist and call him out just because they nominated their faves, Tiff and Hannah, are stupid. When he was good with Tiff last week, he was praised like a saint. Now it's the opposite, and they hate him now because of and it's childish." Yeah, I agree. This just goes back to me versus Stans. I will never see Stans as like smart. I see Stans as delusional. The Stans who make fun of Derek F's delusion, and he is delusional, but a lot of these Stans on social media are equally delusional with their faves. Just saying. Nalej Hall commented again and said, laughing my ass off. Kai gets a bad rep. He's a great player, just annoying as fuck sometimes and way too unnecessarily talkative. Claire definitely didn't do shit all season. Yeah, Claire didn't do shit all season. 100% backs. And Kai does have a bad reputation. But it's his own doing. He's played a snake game and a chaotic game, so it's hard to not look at Kai and not trust him, or look at Kai and have some bitter feelings. Look at Kai and not know what the hell he's going to do. Production couldn't have given more wonderful freebies to Claire or DX this season. Yeah, though the twists were meant to fuck up the cookout. The cookout just worked around them quite well. Azah has floated this season. She literally just started playing 2 weeks ago. I mean, I disagree. And I said this in the comments that I've been talking about Azah's social game since the beginning. I know Days left a comment that Azah's furniture, blah blah blah. I think everybody's wrong. Social game. This is a social game. I like. Look, can we just admit this is a social game? So if you're social, you're doing well. It's not a hard concept to grasp that if you're in a social game and you're playing well socially, then you're playing a good game. So I just think Azah just. It's been a very under the radar game. Strategically, I think Azah is like. She maybe just started playing strategically in the last few weeks. But I don't even know if that's true because she had a great strategic move the week Christian went home to further the Cookouts game. Azah told Christian straight up, putting all the pressure on Tiffany and Xavier to have to just go with the Cookout. But she's had a great social game since week 1, and I've documented it on this channel. So you can't just say that she started playing 2 weeks ago because it's just not true. Maybe Tiff admitting it will finally wake her fans up, but you can't wake up someone who's only pretending to be sleeping. That was from Speak the World Bible Study. Yeah, and Tiffany did more admitting on Saturday, so will her fans actually finally see the light? I think they've known the light. They're just delusional, like you said. Fulani Greer said, I like Azah. She's level-headed. She's a level-headed person, and I like her commitment to the Cookout Alliance. I agree with your analysis. You make great points. Thank you. And like I said earlier, I felt like I've had to defend Azah's game this whole season because all the fans don't take its social game into account, even though this is a social game. And Tiffany stands were being hard on Azah when Tiffany was the problem, and Tiffany admitted it. Ray Rush says, woo, watch out now. You look really cute with your haircut, though. Thank you. Always gassing me up, Ray. Said, okay, now on my comments, Claire never did a damn thing in this game. Derek F is a mess. He really thinks he is responsible for coming up with the Cookout. He is delusional as hell. He is delusional as hell. 100% correct. Real Talk said, smart nominations, regardless if fans are mad. Yep. Well, there was more comments. Thank you for the comments. I enjoy getting comments. Like I said, even if you disagree with me, I know every video I come in hot on Tiffany, I get some iffy people, but it is what it is. I've just been keeping it real all season. That's all I can really truly do is keep it real. There's plenty of these podcasts that just say the same thing to try and get likes, try and get clout with the fan base. I even checked out some of the podcasts of Big Brother that barely get like 10, 15 views. Not that that's bad. Keep working at it because I have a small fucking channel. But even the small Big Brother podcasts just say the same points as the Big Brother podcasts, and the I can't even fucking talk. The Big Brother podcasts have been wrong a lot this season. So I don't know if that's the smartest thing to do. Is just try to please the stands. It's not worth it because then you just look stupid all the time because you're wrong.